The Alabama Crimson Tide go on the road to Norman, Oklahoma in the first game of the 2025 college football playoffs to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. I cannot wait for this matchup. Right when I saw it on Selection Sunday, it got me really excited because I know these teams, they both have great defenses. They both are so talented. They're both well coached. And I'm excited to watch this game. I think it's going to be great. A lot of people I heard complaining about it because we've already seen this game. But personally, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, the winner takes on Indiana in the Rose Bowl. And boy, I would love to see Indiana play either of these teams in that game in Pasadena, California. Now, luckily for us, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble speaking words right now. Luckily for us, we've seen these two teams play before. Back in November, sort of 3 weeks before the end of the regular season, the Crimson Tide hosted the Oklahoma Sooners in Tuscaloosa, and Oklahoma won 23-21. But just looking at the box score right here, you wouldn't have guessed it. You know, the score isn't up here, but if you look at any box score of any team, and you see a team has 11 more first downs, they're better on third down, they have nearly 200 more yards of total offense, nearly 200 more yards of passing yards, more passing yards per attempt, more yards per play, more rushing yards. I mean, Alabama dominated Oklahoma in nearly every single statistical category in this game. And I've heard a lot of people talking about this game, and I keep hearing people say, I mean, Oklahoma's defense, man, they really put Alabama's offense in a blender in this football game. They couldn't do anything. And that's why they only put up 21 points and lost. To me, that's not true. I mean, Alabama had 406 yards of total offense in this game. They threw the ball really, really well, and they actually ran the ball a lot better than they had been running the ball up to that point and even after that game. So to me, when I was watching this game live I'm looking back on it, and I did a whole film breakdown of that game earlier, I think last week. So if you want to go check that out, it's still on the channel. But to me, Alabama did not get put in a blender in this game. They didn't get shut down. They didn't get smoked. I think Alabama played a pretty good football game. Ty Simpson was on time. Daniel Hill actually had a couple of explosive run plays, which we hadn't seen from Alabama's offense all year other than the Vanderbilt game. And they were clicking. Like Jerry Bernard had a big game, and this offense was playing really good football. It just came down to those three turnovers. And also Oklahoma's special teams played way better. But Alabama basically they had the muffed punt, they had the pick six, and they had the strip sack fumble. They basically gifted Oklahoma 20 points in this game. And Oklahoma won 23-21. So honestly, like, yes, what Oklahoma did was impressive. They got home to Ty Simpson a lot. They protected their field goals. They didn't turn the ball over at all. And they didn't make any stupid mistakes. But Oklahoma, in my opinion, didn't go out and dominate and win this football game. Honestly, Alabama just kind of gave it away. And that's what this next game comes down to between the Crimson Tide and the Sooners. Does Alabama give this game away? But these two teams are also very different right now than they were back in November when they played for the first time. So let's look at Alabama's offense. Of course, the story of the offense so far this year has been twofold. First of all, Ty Simpson. I mean, to start the year, he was incredible. He was a Heisman contender. He was one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback, in college football for most of the season. I mean, he had an 8-game stretch with a QBR average of 86.1. That's out of 100. That's incredible. That's really, really good stuff from Ty Simpson. But you can see he's had a very obvious dip in production. Ever since then, his average of QBR has only been at 52.9, and that's for a number of reasons. I think that his offensive line is very injured. I think that teams, including Georgia, including Auburn, including Tennessee to an extent, and a little bit of South Carolina, have finally figured out that they can run man coverage really well against these Alabama receivers. Like, Alabama does not have a consistent receiver that puts up solid performances in football games. They haven't had that all year. And they have not had a 100 plus yard receiver since week 3, which is crazy. I mean, this is a team that has Ryan Williams. We've seen the amazing things that he can do. Hasn't done it at all this year, except for that Wisconsin game. Jerry Bernard, yeah, he's been great. He's had good moments. And when they put him in the backfield, he's getting that football, but he has not been consistently dominant. He has not had one amazing explosive game since like the Florida State game in week 1. Isaiah Horton has been very inconsistent. He had a drop against Georgia. For me, Isaiah Horton either puts in a ton of effort on plays or I don't see any effort from him at all. So I think these Alabama receivers are very consistent. That's also leading to Ty Simpson's faults these last 4 games. But luckily for Alabama, Oklahoma doesn't run a lot of man coverage. So they're not really going to have to worry about that. And then the second main part of Alabama's story offensively this year they cannot run the ball. That's just been the case for the Crimson Tide all season long. They're 14th in the SEC in rushing yards per game. And the reason that they're not last is because they ran for like over 300 yards against Eastern Illinois and Louisiana Monroe. Against SEC teams, Alabama has like done nothing on the ground game at all. And I think a lot of that has been Parker Brailsford being injured. Parker Brailsford is Alabama's starting center. I think he might be the best player on their offense is Parker Brailsford. He is so good when he is at full health, but he's been dealing with a foot/ankle injury. He's basically playing on one foot right now. So if they can get him healthy, that will help. And that's really a theme with Alabama's offense. Can they get their players healthy? According to Kalen DeBoer, Jam Miller, Parker Brailsford, and Josh Cuevas all should play in this game. Apparently, they're all looking great and they're developing in terms of their injuries. So that's a good sign for the Crimson Tide. We'll see if Cam Dewberry is back, their starting left guard. But if this Alabama offense is healthy, then I think they can return to their form that they had early in the season. And no, I don't think everything is on Ty Simpson. But again, if they can be healthy around him, if their receivers can step up, and if Ty Simpson can start really having open options at the top of his drop, I think this Alabama offense can start clicking again. But unfortunately for them, they are going up against one of the best defenses in the sport. I mean, Oklahoma's defense has been lights out all year long. They're the best defense in the SEC, in my opinion. I guess either them or Georgia. They're both phenomenal. And statistically, they are number one. They're first in the SEC in yards allowed per game. And it's every level of defense for Oklahoma, in my opinion. I think the best part of their defense is their defensive line and their linebackers. And our Mason Thomas, that's one of the main storylines to me about this game and about this Oklahoma team is the return of our Mason Thomas, because our Mason Thomas might be their best football player on offense and in defense. He's explosive off the line of scrimmage. He can also power rush you. He's a very versatile pass rusher. And before, I think he got injured. I can't remember exactly what game it was, but he's missed almost half of the season. And prior to his injury, he had 6.5 sacks in 6 games. And in one of those games against Auburn, he only played one half, and he still got 2 sacks in that second half. He is a game wrecker. So having him back is big for the Sooners. I also love Kip Lewis, and Oklahoma drew up so many good blitzes for Kip Lewis in the Alabama game in November. He had 2 sacks. He's only had 3 all year. 2 of them came against the Crimson Tide. And Alabama honestly just failed to identify him in the pass protection. It made me so mad. If you watch the film breakdown, you know that one of Alabama's main faults in this game was just they didn't identify Kip Lewis whatsoever in their pass protection. That's what led to the pick six. That's what led to Alabama having to go for it on 4th and 6 on their final drive. Kip Lewis was just blitzing up the middle, and Alabama didn't do anything about it. So if they do that again, I will be very impressed with Oklahoma and Brent Venables. And also, it's not like their secondary is super elite, but Oklahoma plays a lot of zone coverage. They don't play a lot of man. You're not going to see a lot of man coverage at all from this football team. And because of that, they sort of take away your explosives. And because of that, Alabama will have to be on the field more, which gives more time for R. Mason Thomas, for Kip Lewis, for Oklahoma's blitzes and blitz packages to get home. And that's exactly what they do best. They have 41 sacks this year, which is tied with A&M for the most in the SEC. A lot of that is sim pressure. And even if they're not simulating pressure, which means like walking up 6 guys to the line of scrimmage and you don't know who's coming and who's dropping, even when they don't do that and they just blitz 4, they can get home, especially with R. Mason Thomas being healthy. And then whoever number 44 is, I can never remember the names of these guys. I'm much better with numbers than I am names. But 44, he's like 275 pounds. He has nasty overhand swipe moves. He can get home 2 at an alarming rate. And this Oklahoma defense really thrives on 3rd down. They're 6th in the nation, in the FBS, in 3rd down percentage defensively. So if they can get Alabama to 3rd and longs, and they'll do that by stopping the run and by making Ty Simpson uncomfortable. If they can get to 3rd and longs, I trust Oklahoma's defense to get home, especially against this offensive line that frankly has and has continued to struggle with speed rush throughout the entire season. So I really like Oklahoma's defense going up against Alabama's offense. Although there's to me the weak point is the secondary. If Alabama's offensive line can pass protect just a little bit, if they can instead of just leaving Kip Lewis to blitz right up the middle, if they can ID him, and if their wide receivers can get open enough at Ty Simpson's drop, I think a lot of people are saying Alabama's offense, we've seen them struggle so much. Oklahoma's defense is so good. There's no chance that Alabama is going to be able to move the football. I think there is a chance. I really do. Alabama just has to not turn it over. Again, they have to. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again because it's so important. They have to identify Kip Lewis in the pass protection. Otherwise, Oklahoma will just force third downs and they will get off the field. And Alabama will have 3-and-out after 3-and-out after 3-and-out, just like they did against Georgia. I think Alabama had 4 or 5 3-and-outs in a row in that game, which is crazy. But yes, Oklahoma's defense is phenomenal. Alabama's offense has been struggling. We'll see what happens on that front. I'll talk more about that in a second, but we got to preview Oklahoma's offense first. So, when talking about Oklahoma's offense, you got to start with John Mateer. To me, John Mateer, if I was a big Oklahoma fan, I would be so frustrated every time I watch John Mateer. Like, he doesn't make any sense at all. I don't get John Mateer. And what I mean by that is when you watch Oklahoma and you watch Oklahoma tape and you look at what John Mateer does, he will make like the greatest third down throw ever. Like, he has the arm talent, he has the arm strength to make these amazing plays. And he does it all the time, like 3 or 4 times a game. You watch John Mateer make a play and you're like, dang, that dude is a good quarterback. That might be the best quarterback in college football. I mean, that's how good some of the plays he makes are. He made one of those throws on 3rd and 13 against Bama and Tuscaloosa. Insane play that he made in that game. The throw against Michigan when he was rolling out to his right on the run, dime. He had a great just rip against cover 3 on like a dig route against LSU. He makes amazing throws. And then, like, the next play, he will make the stupidest decision ever. And you're like, dude, I just saw you make a great play. What are you doing, John? Like, well, what is going on? And he misreads RPOs all the time. He's not patient at all in the pocket. Like, even Alabama blitzed 3 against Oklahoma a good amount. And John Mateer had all day to throw. Instead of, like, reading the field, he just looks at his first read and then puts his head down and runs. And I think a lot of times that's why Oklahoma's offense is so hard to predict, because John Mateer is all over the place, and it's really hard to tell what he's going to do. But that being said, Oklahoma does have the 9th best passing attack in the SEC, which isn't terrible, but their run game has been awful this year, especially with their running backs. In their last 3 games, they haven't had a running back run for over 42 yards. They cannot run the ball. And I don't think it's on the running backs themselves. Like, big old Robinson, number 24, he's so hard to tackle. He is big and he fights, and he's going to be at 100%, I think, in this game. And then they have Blaylock, the freshman, who's a great change of pace. He's really jumpy, really explosive, and he'll find a crease and he'll get through it and go. Like, their running backs are good. They just their offensive line just gets beat across their face. They get out leveraged. They don't get any push whatsoever, and they're going up against an Alabama defensive line that is big. It's strong. It's got guys like Tim Keenan, James Smith. Oklahoma couldn't run the ball against Alabama in their first meeting, at least not consistently with their running backs. I don't think they're going to be able to at all in this game either. Which leads me to what I think Oklahoma has to do offensively in this game. To me, I think they have to, whenever their defense gets them a short field, or they get a great punt return, or they get a turnover from Alabama, whatever it is, if they have an opportunity to kick a field goal, they need to do whatever it takes to save the field goal. They can't be aggressive. They can't turn it over. They don't want to lose. They just get points, because your defense is really good. And you've got a great kicker. If you're Oklahoma and you're in field goal range at all, just play it safe. There's no need to take any risks. Just save your field goal. Play for 3 points. That's what I'm doing if I'm Oklahoma. And what Oklahoma can't do, and this is what Ben Arbuckle does so much for some reason. Every time they get an explosive play, they get right back on the ball and they run the same play. And it almost always leads to either a turnover or a very big negative. So they can't be doing any of that. I'm sick of seeing that from Oklahoma's offense. And they're going up against an Alabama defense that has also been elite this year. This is a great Alabama defense. They're 3rd in the SEC in yards allowed per game. They are one of the best pass defenses in the country. The secondary is amazing, and it's gotten better and better as the season has gone on. They're 2 really good outside corners, Dijon Lee, the true freshman, and Xavier Brown. Those 2 players, I think that's the most impressive part of this Alabama defense, is their 2 corners. It's not like they play a ton of man coverage, but those guys are locked down. They leverage the football really well. They can tackle. And, I mean, we saw Xavier Brown in the Iron Bowl lock up Cam Coleman. Dijon Lee has been great against whoever he's been matched up against, whether it's Trey'Dez Green or just whoever these corners are guarding, they lock down. And they are without LT Overton, which is notable. I mean, LT Overton, in my opinion, is their best player on the defensive line. I think Tim Keenan is great at eating blocks, and James Smith is great at creating havoc plays. But I think their most well-rounded and consistent defender on the defensive line is LT Overton. That being said, it's not like they're going up against a team that can run the ball really well, so it's not that big of a loss. But in my opinion, Alabama's defense shouldn't be of a concern at all. I mean, Oklahoma could barely move the ball at all on them last year. And I think, or not last year, but last time they played, I think the key to Alabama having success defensively is to just capitalize on your opportunities. Like there was two times in the first meeting when these two teams faced where I thought Alabama should have had pick sixes, and they batted one of them down and they dropped another one. So if you can just let Oklahoma make the mistakes and limit explosive plays and just do whatever you can to help out your struggling offense, which honestly that is basically what this game is. It is two offenses that cannot figure out what to do, and they are praying and hoping that their defense and their special teams gives them a chance. That is what is going on in this game. And I think a lot of people think that we're going to get a preview, or we're going to get a same sort of thing in this game of what happened last game, which was, yeah, Alabama's going to turn the ball over. They're going to make special teams mistakes. This is what Oklahoma does. They create turnovers. They create havoc plays. They're going to win. See, I don't know, because Oklahoma, as good as they've been at creating turnovers, they are still tied for 92nd in the country in turnovers forced. Like, really, the only teams they forced turnovers against are Tennessee and Alabama. They didn't force turnover for like the first 6 games of the year or something like that. I don't know the exact stat, but it's something crazy. Like, the Alabama game was such an anomaly. It really was. I mean, Alabama's offense was clicking. After that game, we didn't see that at all the rest of the season. So that much was an anomaly. Alabama turned the ball over 3 times. They don't turn the ball over that often. So that was an anomaly. And Oklahoma's defense forced a bunch of turnovers. That itself was an anomaly. So in my opinion, if you're picking Oklahoma to win this game, you are betting on a lot of things happening that don't happen very often with both of these teams, which is a weird spot to be in. And listen, I have a hard time doing this because I really don't think Alabama is going to contend for a national championship. I think they got so many problems that they need to fix on this team that they're not going to be able to fix come championship time. But that being said, I am picking the Alabama Crimson Tide to win this game 17-9. I think it's going to be brutal. I think it's going to be super low scoring. It's not going to be fun to watch. If you want a football game that's going to be fun to watch, in my opinion, turn on Miami versus Texas A&M on Saturday. That game is going to be awesome. This game is going to be very in the mud. It's going to be cold. And honestly, that kind of favors both of these teams. I don't think there is a chance that Oklahoma is going to be able to move the ball efficiently against Alabama in this game. They didn't do it last time these two teams played, and they haven't really been able to do it against anyone all year. So why on earth would they be able to do it against this Alabama defense that's been phenomenal? I'm not sure. I mean, if we look at the two, or when Alabama's been playing recently, their defense hasn't been the problem. They gave up 20 points to Auburn. They gave up 28 to Georgia, but 14 of those points were off of either their turnover or a block punt. Like, this defense has been good, and Oklahoma's offense has been bad. So I don't see how Oklahoma moves the ball. I think the passing attack will work like it did last time these two teams played against Oklahoma's secondary that plays a lot of cover three. They play a lot of cover two. They leave the middle of the field pretty open. And oh my goodness, man. The fact that Alabama got torched so many times by Kip Lewis in last game when these two teams played, there is no way that Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer look at that tape and make that same mistake again. I cannot see it happening. I think it would be foolish of them to let that happen again. So I think they're going to fix that. But Oklahoma can 100% win this game. I'm not saying this is definite. I'm not saying Alabama is going to easily win, like Ole Miss will easily beat Tulane. If Oklahoma needs to win, they're not going to do it by scoring 30 points. Like, John Mateer is not going to go out and light the world on fire. He might make a couple big plays. I mean, that's what he does, and he did when these two teams played in November. But I don't think he's going to do that consistently in this game. They have to win the turnover battle again, and they have to win the field position battle and protect their kicks, because they're not going to get a lot of opportunities to get points on the board in this game. When they do, they have to take them and just don't get too aggressive. And that being said, if those things don't go their way, if they don't win the turnover battle, if Ty Simpson protects the football, if Alabama IDs Kip Lewis, and they don't just get some super advantage on field position, they have to generate explosive plays. Whether that's Isaiah Satania on jet sweeps, or if they get an explosive run from Blaylock, or John Mateer just trusts his legs and cracks something off like he did with the 20-yard touchdown run in their first matchup. They need like 2 or 3 big explosive plays because they're not going to be able to stack plays on this Alabama defense, in my opinion. So they just need, whether it's an Alabama mistake like a missed tackle or a blown coverage assignment, which they haven't had a lot of those this year, but they have a lot of missed tackles. They don't have a lot of blown coverages, but that's what Oklahoma needs to win. I think it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be close the whole way through. But at the end of the day, I am trusting the better offense that I've seen better play from throughout the season. And I'm trusting Alabama's defense and the special teams not to just completely drop a deuce. And so I'm picking Alabama to win this game very cautiously because Oklahoma has had the Crimson Tide's number as an SEC member. So, again, we'll see. I would not be shocked if this game went the other way. But I am going with the Alabama Crimson Tide. So it's Roll Tide in the first round. Give me Alabama to win 17-9 on Friday nights. And thanks so much for watching, folks. If you take one thing away from this video, it's not that Oklahoma's offense is terrible or Alabama's defense is great or that we are set up for a phenomenal game in Norman. But it's that Jesus loves you more than you could ever imagine. You are called to follow him and to give your life to Jesus because that is where we find fulfillment on this planet. And if you don't know where to start, just pray for me. I need prayers as much as anybody else. I'm no better than anyone. So, if you want to, you can say a quick prayer for Robert and his needs, and then say a quick prayer for your family, your friends, and whoever else you might think of. So again, thanks so much for watching, folks. God bless. Have a great night and enjoy the first round of the playoffs on Friday nights. I'll see y'all later.